Creativity is something we all have. Creativity is a way to open up boundless worlds, to create anything. Of course, when we think of creativity, the first things that we think of are artists, writers, poets, things like that. However, creativity and the creative are often in unfounded places, or unthought of places. Like the creator of computers, the man who decided that all computers should be linked together and created the internet. The person who, put a flower in a place where it really shouldn't be, but it's there anyway. Creativity has so much power. It's absolutely amazing. It's one of the most amazing things that we can find in this world. And it's something that we're crushing. And that's crushing. When we're little, we're very creative. You can give a child a doll or a small toy and they'll think of hundreds, maybe thousands of ways to entertain themselves with it. Maybe they'll entertain themselves with someone else as well. But there it is. They can do it. They're able to take something simple and make it amazing. Now, as we grow up, we become less and less creative. There's a longitudinal study that showed that as children progressed, they did become less creative. They were less able to discover new ways to use something simple. Less ways of thinking of things, of being able to expand and be creative. So creativity, it would seem, is in a decline. That the things that we need are becoming less and less available to us. And the thing, of course, is always creativity. We always need creativity. We always ought to be creative. But what is it that causes this to happen? Why are we becoming less and less creative? And there's lots of reasons, of course, but the ones that I want to talk about are school, technology. Start off with school. So schooling is really rather a killer of creativity. Schools, they say, are modeled off of factories and act like prisons. Because everything is so regulated, everything is so strict. Both prisons and factories, both have bells to regulate when the inhabitants of that location are to do one thing or another. So too do schools. Schools have set amounts of time for reading or writing and math and a short amount of play, and that's about it. That's what you do in school. There's not much variation. Even if there is variation, it's just a variation off of one of those few things. Science as well, of course. But every time you do it, it's in a regulated amount of time. In my school, it was 46 minutes. I had 46 minutes to do math, 46 minutes to do English, 46 minutes to explore science. And that's not enough time. It just isn't. Because the mind isn't restricted by time. It's restricted by interest. If one is more interested in science, they'll become engrossed by it. And they'll want to learn more about science. But we only have 46 minutes. That was only for me. The set amount of time that we have in schools, the regulation of time, prevents students from being able to explore their mind, being able to explore their interests. They're stopped at a certain amount of time. Creativity cannot flow if there's a bell, if there is a physical distance between one and one's interests. Of course, one can always think about something, but to explore it physically, to do an experiment, to take something in your hands and watch it do something else. You have to be there. You have to be able to explore that, and 46 minutes may not be enough. So, time. It's really time, not just schools. It's just that schools are misusing time. Technology, as well, is also a horrible killer of creativity. What technology does is amazing things. It has the ability to record this as I speak to you with a single button. Just one. That's all it took. That I can walk into a room, push a button, and have a camera turn on, and a projector project anything that I might need. Lights to turn on so that I'm brightly lit and you can see me. A microphone to be able to determine exactly how my voice sounds so you can hear me as well as I can hear me. This is amazing. The fact that I can do that, just walk into a room and everything is ready for me, is amazing. Computers are amazing. They can do so many things. The power of the internet is the power of everything. The internet contains everything. You only have to look for it. So technology, and that's just computers. If you think about it, that's just computers. And that's the simplest form of technology that we can think of, the one that's most immediate. But phones and iPods and MP3 players and anything else, vehicles even, technology. Building are derived from technology. Everything that you can think of is technology in some way or another. And so technology has the power to do anything. And it's able to ease our studies, to ease our lives even. And you can take a piece of technology and use it constructively. You use it to do your taxes, or to file all your information, everything. It's fantastic. But just as much as it's fantastic, as much as it's positive, so too is it negative. Just because it's able to do all these things, technology is also able to easily distract us. It's horribly easy. Twitter and Facebook and things that beep and flash and make noise when they're not supposed to, which grab our attention. Televisions and commercials do this too. All of these things distract us and stop us. When we're stopped, we're not creative. When we have a flow of thought and it's stopped, we're not creative anymore. So technology is able to both help the creative and stop the creative, kill the creative even. When you're thinking of something fantastic and amazing and you've lost yourself in this moment, this indefinite moment of anything, and then it stops because a commercial turned on or because your phone lighted up, that kills creativity. That is possibly a more detrimental killer of creativity in school, or rather time. So, but again, technology is only it's a distraction, but it's a manipulation of your time. So time is really the enemy of creativity. Because without time, there is less creativity, no creativity, or none at all. Just dead. But with time, time is able to supplement creativity and give it breath and life. So how do we fix this? How do we create a society where we're more creative? Well, it's simple, really. Turn off your phone. It's as easy as that. To remove oneself from the distractions in your world. To find a place of escapism. To find a place where it's safe. Where it's safe to be wrong. Where it's safe to be different than anyone else. And to be able to think creatively and to think without restraint. That is the necessary thing. Everyone must have that. And without it, creativity dies. This sense of self is unexplored. One's own interests are unexplored because you don't have the time. And this place doesn't have to be a specific place away. It can be anywhere. It can be in your bedroom, or the kitchen, or down in the basement, or in the library, or at the tree at the park. It doesn't matter where, really. It can be anywhere, and that anywhere can be specific to you. But what you need is the time. Time is what is necessary. The ability to explore anything that you want for as long as you want, until you don't ever want to explore it anymore. That is what you need. That is what creativity is built on. So with schools, you can't just do that. You can't just let kids have free reign of technology and computers and things like that and expect them to just learn everything. There's of course guidance. That's why we have teachers. If we didn't have teachers, we wouldn't be learning quite as well. And of course, there's parents, but parents are acting as teachers when they teach their children things. They're always acting as teachers. So I propose something that's already been implemented, the 20% time of Google. But the idea that part of your day is yours forever. Well, this still has a regulation of time. The regulation of time is much larger than normal. Instead of having 46 minutes, you might have a day, maybe 2 days, maybe 10 days, something like that. You have a set amount of time to work in, and you're able to explore something more fully. And even just an expansion from 46 minutes to an hour and a half, an hour 45, 2 hours to 2 days, any expansion of time. Because thought isn't set in time. It doesn't exist for 30 seconds and then never again. Nor does it exist for an hour and then stop. But it flows constantly and is completely indefinite. So you need an indefinite amount of time as well. Of course, you can't have an indefinite amount of time, but anything greater than the set amount of time that is given is what's necessary. And so with this, the use of technology in a more meaningful way, and the idea of free time, which is something we don't ever want here in America. We don't see free time. There's always busyness happening everywhere. Free time and the use of technology in the proper ways, and the useful ways, are the ways to revive creativity from its rather death. And these things are easily implemented. What it is that you must reject the social norms that you see. Instead of having your phone with you all the time, use it when you need it. Instead of talking to someone on your phone, texting, talk to them in person. Things of that nature. And then set aside for yourself time. As a parent, you're able to regulate your child's time and give them that time. There's after school, of course, but learning happens best at school. So, while that's an unlikely possibility, that's possibly the best. So, time and creativity, forever linked. They are derived from each other and for each other. And it is with creativity and with time that you get the amazing things that we find in our lives today. And that is what we need more of. Thank you.